In the year 2042, the world teeters on the brink of a technological renaissance, yet shadows of a dystopian future loom large. Unbeknownst to humanity, the threads of time are being manipulated by a clandestine organization known as the Timekeepers, their influence rippling through history, shaping events to their own design. But fate, it seems, has other plans. Ethan Blake, a young astrophysics student at MIT, was working late one night in the university's particle accelerator lab. A sudden power surge caused a catastrophic malfunction, engulfing Ethan in a wave of chronal energy. When the dust settled, Ethan found himself unharmed, but fundamentally changed. He discovered he could manipulate time itself. He could slow it down, speed it up, and even create temporal loops. He could see glimpses of the future and relive moments from the past. Ethan, now calling himself the Chrono-Kinetic, was both fascinated and terrified by his newfound abilities. He realized the immense responsibility that came with the power to control time, the potential to alter the course of history. Ethan sought guidance from a reclusive historian named Dr. Evelyn Reed, an expert in temporal anomalies. Dr. Reed helped Ethan understand the complexities of time manipulation and the potential consequences of altering the past or future. She warned him of the dangers of temporal paradoxes, the unintended consequences of changing events in the timeline. She also revealed the existence of the Timekeepers, their hidden agenda, and their manipulation of historical events. The Timekeepers, led by the enigmatic figure known as the Oracle, saw Ethan as a threat to their carefully constructed timeline. They dispatched agents to capture him, but Ethan, with his ability to see glimpses of the future, evaded their every move. Ethan soon realized that the Timekeepers were not the benevolent protectors they claimed to be. They were manipulators, using their knowledge of time to control events and shape history to their own agenda. Ethan's defiance of the Timekeepers led him to the temporal nexus, a hidden dimension where the past, present, and future converged. Here he encountered other individuals with time-based abilities, including Anya Petrova, a woman who could perceive ripples in the time stream. Together, they uncovered a plot by the Timekeepers to rewrite a pivotal moment in history, one that would solidify their control over the timeline. Ethan and Anya raced against time, their powers intertwined as they navigated the treacherous currents of the past. They witnessed the horrors of war, the triumphs of the human spirit, and the delicate balance of cause and effect. The Timekeepers pursued them relentlessly, their agents becoming increasingly desperate as Ethan and Anya closed in on their target. In a climactic showdown at the heart of the temporal nexus, Ethan confronted the Oracle, their powers clashing in a maelstrom of temporal energy. Ethan, fueled by his love for Anya and his belief in the freedom of time, unleashed his full power. He created a temporal loop, trapping the Oracle in an endless cycle of their confrontation, effectively neutralizing the Timekeepers' leader. With the Oracle out of the picture, the Timekeepers fractured, their control over the timeline shattered. Ethan and Anya emerged as symbols of hope, their actions inspiring others with time-based abilities to use their gifts for good. In the aftermath, Ethan and Anya founded the Cronal Guardians, a network of individuals dedicated to protecting the timeline and preserving the delicate balance of time. They traveled through history, righting wrongs, preventing catastrophes, and ensuring that the future remained open to possibility. But their work was far from over. The echoes of the past continued to haunt Ethan, whispering of new threats and unforeseen challenges. He saw visions of a bleak future, a world ravaged by war and environmental collapse. Determined to avert this fate, Ethan embarked on a solitary journey through time, seeking the root cause of the impending disaster. Ethan's travels led him to the early 21st century, where he discovered a hidden research facility conducting experiments with unstable temporal energy. Their reckless research had created a ripple effect in the timeline, a butterfly effect that would eventually lead to the catastrophic future Ethan had foreseen. Ethan infiltrated the facility, using his powers to sabotage the experiments and erase the facility's existence from history. But his actions had unintended consequences. The timeline shifted, altering the course of events in subtle but significant ways. When Ethan returned to the present, he found himself in a world that was both familiar and different. Some events had changed for the better, while others had taken a darker turn. The future was no longer set in stone, but the threat of disaster still loomed. Ethan realized that his actions had not solved the problem, but merely delayed it. He had bought humanity some time, but the underlying issues of conflict and greed remained. Ethan, now more determined than ever, vowed to use his powers to guide humanity towards a brighter future. He returned to the Cronal Guardians, sharing his visions and rallying his allies. Together they embarked on a new mission, not just to protect the timeline, but to actively shape it for the better. They traveled through time, not as passive observers, but as agents of change. They inspired leaders, sparked revolutions, and planted the seeds of peace and understanding. They became the architects of a new era, a future where humanity could thrive. Ethan's mission was not without its challenges. He faced opposition from those who feared his power and sought to control the timeline for their own selfish ends. He also encountered new threats, temporal anomalies, and rogue time travelers who sought to disrupt the balance of time. But Ethan, the Chrono-Kinetic, remained steadfast in his purpose. He knew that the struggle for the future was an eternal one, a constant battle against the forces of chaos and destruction. But he also knew that humanity had the potential for greatness, the capacity to create a future where peace and prosperity reigned. And with the power of time on his side, he was determined to make that future a reality. Years turned into decades, and Ethan, the Chrono-Kinetic, became a legend, a whisper in the annals of time. The world he helped shape was not perfect, but it was better. It was a world where hope flickered, where the potential for a brighter future remained alive. And as long as there were those who believed in the power of time to heal and transform, the legacy of the Chrono-Kinetic would endure.